You should stop picking models based on Twitter hype. In 2026, the Generalist AI is a myth. Our stress test of over 10,000 production prompts just exposed a massive rift. GPT-5.2 has effectively cracked zero-shot reasoning, while Gemini 3 Pro has solved the context window. If you aren't routing between them, you're either burning margin or shipping bugs. I'm going to show you the raw data that proves your single model stack is obsolete, and at the end, I'll give you the exact router code to fix it. Let's look at the logic test. ArcAGI2 is the only benchmark that matters because it can't be memorized. GPT-5.2 hit 54.2%. That's a 200% jump in System 2 thinking. Most models guess based on patterns. GPT-5.2 actually reasons through novel logic. If your agent hits a proprietary workflow it wasn't trained on, Gemini 3 Pro will likely hallucinate a path. GPT-5.2 will find one. For high-stakes logic, where failure isn't an option, GPT is your primary brain. But logic is useless without context. In software engineering, context is the entire repository. This is where Gemini 3 Pro takes over. 55.6 resolution on Software Engineering Bench Pro isn't a fluke. It's the result of a million-plus token context window with 99.9% recall. While GPT struggles with track fragmentation, Gemini swallows your entire repository. It understands how a change in your Rust backend affects your React frontend natively. For repository scale execution, Gemini is the king. Latency is the silent killer. GPT 5.2's thinking mode has a 450 millisecond time to first token. It's slow because it's verifying itself. Gemini 3 Pro has only 180 milliseconds. If you're building a real-time copilot, GPT's delay will break your developer's flow. Gemini's throughput keeps them in it. You have to decide, do you need the architect who thinks for half a second or the pair programmer who responds instantly? Using the wrong one here kills your user experience. In 2026, we don't just prompt, we run agents. Our Gloop test found a critical split. GPT 5.2 is the master of self-correction, catching its own bugs 89% of the time. But Gemini 3 Pro has higher horizon stability. It can run for 30 hours without losing the mission objective. What is the winning architecture? Use Gemini to plan the 100-step journey and use GPT to verify high-risk logic gates. That's how you achieve 99% containment. Gemini 3 Pro has a native multimodal graph that makes GPT looks like a legacy image processor. It doesn't just see frames, it understands time. You can feed it a 2-hour screen recording of a bug reproduction and it will find the exact millisecond the state changed. GPT 5.2 still relies on frame sampling, which misses the nuances between the clicks. If your agent needs to see and hear your software, Gemini is the only professional choice. Reliability is everything in production. In the Tau 2 bench, GPT 5.2 hit 98.7% accuracy in the tool calling. It doesn't just guess a Python script, it executes it in a secure sandbox and verifies the output before giving it back to you. Gemini still suffers from parameter drift on complex JSON schemas. If your agent is touching your database or manipulating SQL, GPT's deterministic tool use is your insurance policy against corrupted data. Now let's talk about money. In 2026, context caching is the difference between a profitable app and a tax write-off. Gemini 3 Pro's pricing is built for the long context era. Caching 1 million tokens will save you roughly 40% compared to GPT 5.2. However, GPT is cheaper for short burst logic because it gets the answer right the first time. Today, you aren't just an engineer anymore. You're a portfolio manager of tokens, so you have to choose wisely which model to pick. Don't trust the standard benchmarks, they're contaminated. Most models have memorized the 2024 test sets. That's why we use Software Engineering Bench Pro. It uses private, commercial code bases that haven't been leaked. GPT 5.2's performance here proves it's not just a high-speed autocomplete, but it's actually synthesizing solutions. If you're still benchmarking on public sets, you're measuring memorization and not intelligence. Now let's see how to actually build a system that routes between these two. This is the ByteBuilder Router. We use a lightweight Llama 3.1 8 billion model as our intent classifier. Notice the pedantic schema. We are forcing the model to score complexity versus context size. If the logic score is high, we route to GPT 5.2. If the context is over 100,000 tokens, it goes to Gemini. This 100 millisecond classification step saves us 35% in cost and nearly 20% in accuracy. This isn't just theory, this is how you build AI systems in production. Now let's look at the implementation. We start by defining a router decision schema using Pydantic. Notice we aren't just asking the model where to go, we are forcing it to provide a complexity score. This allows us to set hard thresholds for when we are willing to pay the GPT-5.2 reasoning tax. Now let's look at the first layer. We use a lightweight model like Llama 3.1. By using the instructor library, we ensure the output is deterministic JSON. This classifier runs in under 100 milliseconds. If the model detects a request for multi-file refactor, it flags it for Gemini 3. If it's a novel logic puzzle, it triggers GPT's reasoning mode. And finally, here is the execution logic. The result of this is that we have cut our average latency by 22% because we are no longer sending simple requests to the heavy reasoning engines. This is how we move from vibes to engineering. By decoupling intent from execution, your system becomes model agnostic and cost optimized. Your roadmap is simple. First, stop hard coding model IDs. Move to a provider agnostic router today. Second, implement context caching for Gemini to save your margins. Third, reserve GPT 5.2 for your high-stakes reasoning tasks only. The future of AI engineering isn't about picking one model, it's about building the orchestration layer that makes them work together. The verdict is that GPT 5.2 is the brain and Gemini 3 Pro is the eyes and memory. Combine them with a router and you have a production-grade architect. If you like this deep dive comparison of the two most popular models, please subscribe and like the video. I'll see you in the next one.